not even getting close. I think I got through halfway in 5:15, 5:20 pace, and just being gassed was demoralizing. And more of a mental beatdown than a physical beatdown. Like physically, I was fine. I'm talking about like physically after the race. Like, during the race, I don't think I was fine. Like I think I was redlining pretty early on.
I'll go straight to airplane mode. Find something to do alone. I can be a little bit cold. After that, going blind.
Talk about how embarrassing, how demoralizing that was. What I like to tell people is this race hurt me more mentally than it did physically, right? It was more a mental more of a mental battle than it was a physical battle, because the next day I felt fine. I wasn't sore. After a marathon, normally you'd be really sore, really like you just absolutely beat down, right? And I wasn't. During the race, it was just brutal. Like I don't want to make an excuse and say the humidity was the problem, but for me it wasn't. I took the necessary protocols to be able to handle that humidity, heat, anything that could any element that was going to be handed to me, right? And yeah, I just wasn't 100% healthy going into the race, and I knew that, and I didn't want to tell that to myself, right? I was very anxious, very nervous going into the race. And so let's talk about the last probably 36 hours leading into the race. I flew into Minneapolis on Wednesday night and spent the night in Minneapolis because I wanted to break up the travel. It's like a 3-hour flight and a 2.5-hour drive to Duluth, and so I wanted to break up that travel. I felt amazing on my Wednesday shakeout in Provo, and then on Thursday I felt even better jogging around the course of the Twin Cities Marathon that I ran a while back ago. I felt amazing, right? My legs were poppy, legs were responsive. It felt like aerobically I was finally back, right? I'm like, oh, like this could be something special. Like legs are finally coming around, and for once in a week and a half, I was not struggling to breathe. I was not struggling at all. Like I felt amazing. Like I rarely ever have easy runs that go that well. You can't analyze it too closely because it's taper week. I've been tapering for about 2 weeks. The week before that, I ran like 68 miles. That week, I was on track to run like 60 something, probably like 62, I think 63. So you can't look too close into it, but I wanted to ignore all the other stuff. I wanted to focus on what I can feel, and I felt great. Legs felt great, like breathing finally felt great. I wasn't congested anymore. Everything was feeling good. Thursday, did shake out and then drove to Duluth, a 2.5-hour drive, picked up my packet, like all high spirit. The next day we had a little group shakeout Friday morning, the day before the race, and just go through the motion, right? You have to practice going through the motion of managing race week nerves. And I've ran enough marathons to know it's like a slow burn. It's like a slow anxiety setting inducing kind of vibe it is, right? And so yeah, I was nervous, but I knew that I've done the work the last 14 weeks, that I should be able to do it. I should be able to handle the volume, and I didn't want the last week and a half to judge my performance. There started to be more factors that came into it, right? People start talking about the weather. People start talking about, on race morning, it's going to be 95% humidity. Start time, like the half marathon starts at 6 a.m., but the marathon starts an hour and 40 minutes later, which in my opinion, I'm like, that's kind of late for a marathon, right? I wasn't worried about the weather. Like, if you guys know, my second ever marathon was the Olympic trials, where I finished 22nd, right? I ran 2:15:43, which is my PR, and the last marathon that I finished, ironically, that's the last marathon that I finished. The race started at 10 a.m. in Atlanta, Florida, in February, and so it was pretty hot and humid, right? And I ran 22 miles at sub-5 pace at that race, right? And then I hit a wall of like probably not feeling well and stuff like that, and just like the last 4 miles were like a slow burn. And what bothered me is when I posted my Strava online or Instagram, right, on my story, people swiping up on my story saying, oh, like, it's fine, like, maybe you went out too hard, maybe you went out too fast. And I'm like, no, this was me being conservative. Like, me and coach talked about going to the race. Like, hey, Hobbs, 210 is in the card one day. Maybe not today. Maybe let's not shoot for 210, right? Let's shoot for something that we truly believe that we can attain, right? That is sub 213. And so the goal going into this race is I want to come away telling everybody or telling myself that I'm a 212 marathoner and just building momentum for something bigger later this year, right? And so, yeah, the game plan going to this race was build momentum, right? I was not focused on winning. I was not focused on a certain time. Like, I am focused on time, but I want to go in here and build a good momentum to move forward for my future races. And getting sick a week and a half before the race kind of put a damper on the whole race, but I'm like, nah, like, I should still be able to run like 212 high, 213 low, and a bad day, hopefully still on a hot, humid day. And I truly believe that, right? So let's jump back into Friday. Friday, shakeout went well, 4 miles, can't really take too much out of my legs, and pretty much spent the rest of the day chilling. Like, a lot of these races, you spend a lot of time by yourself doing pretty much nothing. This trip, I bought an iPad and became an iPad kid. I was just playing games on my iPad, just trying to distract my mind from all the things that didn't go well in the last week and a half. Like, Friday went by pretty good. At like 8 o'clock, I started the wind down process, right? I am a big stressor. I stress about the little things. I'm an overthinker. And so And so by going to bed early that night, I knew that I was going to eliminate a lot of that stuff. And the goal was to wake up 3 hours before my race. Let's just say the race was at 8 a.m. And so the plan was to wake up at 5 a.m., right? The race is like 7:40, but I woke up just before 5 a.m. And I woke up at 5 a.m., like I think 4:45, to the news that the race is delayed, right? The race is delayed by 30 minutes because there was a storm that came through last night and it was unsafe for the volunteers to set up the course, set up certain things, and so the race was delayed by 30 minutes. Now our 7:40 start turned into an 8:10 start, and so that moved all the schedules forward, right? And so our busing got changed and everything like that. I try not to stress about it. I went into my normal routine, woke up, grabbed my bowl of oats, walked downstairs, put water in it, shook it up, ate that, sitting there just like chilling and relaxing, trying to be as calm as possible, sipping on my carb drink, like a caffeinated carb drink, and just trying to like gather myself like physically, because the marathon, the one thing about marathon is like marathon race day, you have to be mentally and physically at 100%, because it is like 100% mentally and physically daunting. Like, it is, you're telling your body to do something that's like very hard, and so you have to be mentally in the right state to be able to run a good race, and physically you also have to be like, if you're mentally prepared and your body can physically handle it, you're in for a great day, right? And so 99% of the time I'm 100% physically ready. It's just mental part gets a little hard sometimes. You got to practice that, right? Some of the best athletes go see psychologists, and psychologist helps them think through the process and like, hey, like this is the thought process that you need to have on race day, and this is the thought process you need to have post race. If the race goes well, you can go towards this track. If the race doesn't go well, you try to reflect. So you have to physically be ready to approach it in 3 different categories. The race goes well, you ball out, ran the race of your life. The race was like decent, and the race you just absolutely tanked it, right? And so mentally, you got to be ready to just ball out, right? Everybody, like 100% of the time, everybody wants to have the race of their lives, right? It could be like, if I won that race, it is a game-changing race for me, right? It opens a lot of doors, it opens a lot of opportunities, right? And so you got to be prepared for those kind of opportunities, right? I don't even know how I got here. But mentally and physically, you got to be 100% ready to attack the marathon. And so I was ready. I was sitting on the bus, just trying to relax, listening to like calm, soothing music, trying to not to be too hyped up and just be ready to hammer. And so yeah, that was the like 35-40 minute bus ride. It was just in pure silence. I think the timing was a little weird. I wish they took us 20-30 minutes earlier to let us have time to sit at the athletes tent for a little longer, because we got there and we had to warm up fast. Like it was like everything was on a timeline and we were being rushed, and I don't like being rushed to warm up. And so yeah, I warmed up with Michael Arson, Hannah, the people that were running the marathon. And so we warmed up for the marathon. If you're curious, we just warm up 10 minutes, just really slow, shake the legs, warm up, just make sure your legs are warm, nothing crazy, and just some drills, right? The warm up is not that important. So I know some of the best athletes in the world don't actually warm up. They're like, why warm up if you're about to go run 26 miles? The race is the warm up. You just warm up through the first couple miles and you're fine. But yeah, we just do 10 minutes, shake legs out, do some drills, change into your jersey, and get to the starting line. But that whole process was just really rushed. We warmed up, I think, 45 minutes before the race. Our 10-minute shakeout plus bathroom break. They wanted us on the starting line 20 minutes early just to stand there. And I'm like confused. But I'm like, whatever, I'll do whatever they say. Go to the starting line. I went off and the race started. And I'm like, this feels uncomfortable, but this is normal. This is mile one of the race. And like, it's all right? And the first half mile, I realized that we were attacking it, dude. Like we were going fast. And I'm like, I looked at my watch and I'm like, this is a little faster than I want. And this is faster than we talked about. Like I talk about running conservative and executing a race well, right? That saying it and doing it are two different things. And I am a big talker, but not a big executor. And so for this race, coach was like, you need to execute, right? And so I looked at my watch and I told myself, we're slowing down. And so I hit the brake, and luckily there's a few other people that hit the brake with me. And so I'm like, okay, good. Like, this is perfect. I don't want to break 5. Coincidentally, I broke 5 my first mile. I ran 4:58 or 4:59. I'm not 100% positive which one it is, but that was the only mile. I'm 99% positive that I broke 5 because I held it back and I was running about 5:05s. 5:05s. I'm talking about like in the splits. It's not 5:05. It's not 5:05s on my watch, but it's 5:05 on the course, right? Like you look at the course and you go off of the markers on the course. GPS could be off a little bit sometimes, and so yeah, the goal is between 5:03 and 5:05s. And I got to mile 3. I looked at Michael, and Michael Larson was next to me, and I'm like, this feels hard, like. And so Michael was like, oh, I'm gonna slow down to 5:10s, and hopefully I feel better. And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna ride it here for a little longer and see how I feel. And mile 5 approached, and I'm like, okay, this feels like I'm at like mile 12 or 13 of a marathon. Like it feels uncomfortable, but I can probably sustain this for a little longer. And it felt really, really hard. Like I don't know why. I've done workouts where this pace feels smooth at altitude, and I also ran 5:02, 5:03 pace at 5,000 feet at the Salt Lake City Half Marathon like 4 or 5 weeks earlier. And so I'm not out of shape. I ran a 66 something at 5,000 feet elevation. And so I'm not out of shape. And a couple months earlier, I ran a 63:10 half marathon. And so I'm not out of shape. And I'm trying to tell myself, like, why does this feel so hard? And we're only on mile 6 and there's 20 to go. And holy cow. Mile 7 came. I was just in a lot of pain. I'm like, I gotta slow down. So I slowed, and I'm like, and I got to mile 8, and I'm like, this hurts. So I slowed a little bit. Like I just like pulled the effort back a little bit, just trying to feel the pace to where like I can finish still under like 217, 218 range, right? And I'm like, all right, like if I still finish here, it's still a good day. It's a good execution. It would just be like a really like hard long run. I don't get why it's not feeling good, but like, don't give up yet. Like, there's still time to execute. There's still a chance that you can still have a second wind. And I'm like, all right, we'll hold it here for longer. And a couple other people caught me, and I was like, all right, just latch onto them and just don't let them go. At that point, the pack that caught me was running 5:15s, and I was running like 5:25s. They caught me. I latched onto them, ran 5:15, 5:20s for a couple miles. And we got to 12, and I'm like, this feels like mile 22 of a marathon. And I still have 14 to go. I'm like, this sucks. And then I slowed a little longer. I'm like, all right, let's just go 5:30s and hope to feel better. And I got to the half marathon in like 67:50. So that's still, I'll just say the 68 minutes, that's 2:16 pace. And I'm like, this feels like an all-out effort. And then just a flip of a light switch. I went from running 5:30 to like 6:30. And it just like, seeing the starting line of the half marathon just broke me mentally. And I'm like, holy cow, like I'm on mile 13 and I feel this bad. And then Michael Ottison's group caught me at like mile 14. And I'm like, Michael's like, come on, Hobbs, hop in. Like we're going like 5:40s. And I'm like, all right. Like I go latch onto that group. And it just, I'm sprinting. Like this feels like I'm running like 4:30 pace, but I'm running 5:40s. And I could not keep running. So I walked for a little bit. And I'm like, all right, like by taking a 20-second, hopefully break of just walking or a minute of it, I should feel better. And next pack caught me. I hopped onto that and I'm just trying to go. And it's just demoralizing. It's just like legs will not go. Body was just like, dude, you are redlined already. And yeah, I don't know what happened. I still don't know. I got blood work done last week. Ferritin's fine. Hemoglobin's fine. Vitamin D's fine. The only explanation we have is a combination of my sickness and a combination of probably the humidity, maybe. But like, it makes no sense because I got back to Utah, ran Monday, worked out on Tuesday. So let's see, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 4 days later, I worked out and I did 2 mile tempo, 4x4, 2 mile tempo, 4x4, and a hard mile at 4:25. And that's one of my best workouts I've ever done this year. Not my best, like one of my better workouts. And then I ran a little bit on Thursday, on Wednesday, and then I was like debating whether or not to work out on Thursday. I'm like, maybe overdoing it a little bit. But I was like, whatever, like full send. I probably won't do the long run, so it's just like full send. And I joined Connor Clayton for the workout. We did 3 mile, like aggressive, like 4:40. I ended up running 3 miles in 13:55, and then did 2 times a mile, 4:30, and then like jogged the last one with the girls. And it just felt like I was back to normal. Like literally, if the race was a week later, I think it would have been a different story. I'm 100% making an excuse, like, you know. But like, I generally don't know what happened. I've never felt like this. I truly like to believe that I can always run 5 flat pace for at least a half marathon. Max 16, 17 miles at 5 flat pace. Even if I don't do it for a marathon, I know my ability. I know what I can do. And not even getting close. I think I got through halfway in like 5:15, 5:20 pace, and just being gassed was demoralizing. And it was just like, yeah, like it's just pretty much like I said earlier. It was more of a mental beatdown than a physical beatdown. Like physically, I was fine, but like I don't know if I was like I'm talking about like physically after the race. Like during the race, I don't think I was fine. Like I think I was redlining pretty early on, and you'd say maybe if you ran 5:15s earlier on, maybe it would have been better. But like I don't think it would have been any better. I generally don't think it would have been better. I don't think my body was ready to run a marathon that week. As much as psychologically I was trying to tell myself, you're ready to rip it, I don't think I was. And so you would ask, what needs to change? Well, that's the thing. Nothing needs to change. And it's frustrating because this build, I did 3 different things that I normally never do, right? I was sleeping in an altitude tent. I slept for an altitude tent for 7 weeks. Slept at like 10, I think between 10 and 12,000 feet every night for 7 weeks. I stopped running on Sundays. I was running all my mileage in 6 days. I ran my highest mileage week ever in 6 days. I ran 121 in 6 days. And the next week I ran 111. And I ran more miles than I ever have. I averaged 95 for a 16-week build with a little bit of tapering for some small races, this and that. And I did all these neat things in hopes to succeed. And it didn't work. But that's not the point. The point is, it didn't work because I got sick at the wrong time. And so it just demoralized because I didn't get sick all year. This was the first time that I got sick all year. Like in 2025, I got sick this many times until a week and a half from the race. And it's so hard not being able to control that factor. Like I was able to control almost every little aspect of my training. I was able to control every single little aspect of it except my immune system. And yeah, that was tragic. And so the answer to the question is no, nothing needs to change. I just gotta keep doing what I'm doing. I just gotta keep showing up, and one day we'll have the races that I'm hoping and I'm capable of having. And yeah, stay tuned. I have some small races that I'm doing this year. I'm excited. I'm more excited than ever because I'm gonna have actual training partners now. Because there's a few people that graduated that are gonna run the marathon, and I am excited. And is there a chance that I'm gonna be getting dropped on more occasionally? Yes. I think I saw something along the lines of like keep showing up, or like, what was the line? I saw this line where somebody said get fit or die trying. It doesn't mean like literally die. It means like die from the workout, you know, physically just like fade down. But like that resonated with me, right? Like it's just like, yeah, get fit or get dropped, you know? And so I'm excited because a couple of the BYU guys are graduated and are going to be training for a marathon. And so I'm going to have some people that I'm going to be running with, some people I'm going to be training with, and I'm going to be getting dropped more occasionally. But the key point is I'm going to have more people to train with now. I'm not going to be staring the back of Connor Clayton from 100 meters away. And so, yeah, that'll be a little more promising. And so I can't wait. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.